the Gaming Garage with Darren Hilton, checking out what is sure to be the next great hit game, MechaHamster. Hi, Darren.
Hey, Todd. How you doing?
Good. Now, the last time I saw MechaHamster, it did not have this multiplayer component that I'm seeing going on behind me. What's going on here?
So this is a project that we did with Cloud, and so we decided to incorporate the Agonis and OpenMatch open source projects into MechaHamster. What
are those? Start with OpenMatch.
So OpenMatch is a framework for connecting clients to our game servers.
Gotcha. It's meaning that like if you've got a bunch of players that want to play a multiplayer game together, I would use OpenMatch to help connect them based on what kind of criteria?
Based on the criteria that you lay out, their skill level, that kind of thing. You can go in and kind of dig in and give that criteria.
So that kind of helps solve the problem of like finding people that actually want to play with like maybe the same skill level or are in the same general area, have good network latency.
Exactly.
Excellent.
Yeah, you don't want to have that experience where you have low-level players being connected with high-level players and then getting a bad game experience.
Yes. And then Agonis. What is that?
So Agonis is a multiplayer gaming server application that's built on Kubernetes.
Okay. And so I know there's a lot of multiplayer game servers out there. What makes Agonis special?
So Agonis is special in that it can scale to the needs of your game. So if you wanted to add, thousands of servers or,
you mean
or more.
when MechaHamster becomes a mega hit, we've got millions and millions of people playing.
And we totally expect that to happen.
Of course.
It's going to happen. The other thing too is that it's cloud agnostic. It's an open source project. You can run it on any cloud service you want. You can run it locally. You can run it in your own, on-prem in your own service. Yep, on-prem.
Great, and so because it's based on Kubernetes, it can scale to basically until I run out of servers or until Google runs out of servers, which is going to take a while.
And everything you need for that server is contained in that Kubernetes container.
Gotcha. And so now with a dedicated game server like Agonis, I know sometimes in multiplayer games, particularly mobile ones, you'll have the clients talking to each other directly in like a peer-to-peer network. What makes a dedicated game server better? So
a dedicated game server gives you the added level of security in that's a sort of truth. And the scalability is another thing, so you can scale to however you want it to scale to the needs of your game. And a peer-to-peer network is relatively limited in that, generally limited to a smaller amount of clients.
But you can't have 100 clients all talking to each other. That would just, that poor one client that's acting as your server for that episode.
Exactly, somebody could mess with that. It could lose its game state. There's a lot of things that can go wrong with that.
Gotcha. And I'm guessing latency is probably more likely to be consistent because you're not relying on that one client to be the server for the entire game.
Exactly.
Gotcha. All right. And then I couldn't help but notice you were wearing a very stylish Firebase t-shirt. So Firebase is integrated in this game as well.
Exactly. So we're using a bunch of Firebase products. We're using authentication, cloud messaging, remote config, real-time database, and Crashlytics.
Oh, Crashlytics. That's new, right?
New as of GDC, yes.
All right. And is this running on Unity?
It's running on Unity.
And so now Crashlytics for Unity will actually let me, as a developer, find out if there are crashes in my game and where they're happening.
Exactly. So you can go through, find your stack trace, and then narrow in on the bugs that are affecting your game.
Gotcha. And have you found lots of crashes in MechaHamster?
Of course not.
Oh, of course, because it is solid
rock solid
code that never crashes.
Yep.
And with remote config, I know kind of one of the fun things of remote config, especially as a game developer, is if you find some level is too hard or some setting is too difficult, you can basically kind of tweak that, and all your clients get updated on the fly.
You can tune that, and you can roll out to all your clients, or you can roll out to a segment of players as well.
Like for sort of running an A/B test?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh.
You can test that, and if it's stable, then you can roll out to everyone as well.
If I wanted to try out MechaHamster at home, how would I be able to do that?
You can download the single-player game from the Play Store or from the App Store.
All right. And last question, were any hamsters harmed in the making of MechaHamster?
I believe not.
All right. Yeah. Well, that's always good to hear.